Okay. Don, next slide is for you. We're going to take the same thing, same hole location, but we're going to stamp it down in to the grass a little bit so it's not sitting up fluffy. What would your approach be here?
To open up the face.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, open up the face, and again, speed, swing speed.
Yep.
Swing through the ball.
Yep. So the ball can then
flop
get up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then this is obviously going to be the flop shot because we're talking about opening the face and hitting it high and all that. All right. So Steve, if we were back on the other side in that fairway where we were before, and we had a long shot that was across the green, we were maybe 15, 20 yards short, right? You're sitting in the fairway. What shot would you go? Would you go with the flop or the bump and run?
Bump and run.
All right. What club would you take?
9-iron.
9-iron. And what are your setup principles there?
Weight on my left foot.
Good.
Ball by my right heel.
Yep.
Body leaning forward.
Perfect.
And
what about the angle of attack? Is it steep up and down, or is it more shallow?
shallow.
Correct. Good. Right. And then Jack, we're going to leave the wild one for you. You're close to the green, but you're in the fairway. You're going to a middle of the green pin. You really have all the shots open. You could hit it up and then let it roll less, or you could hit it lower and bump it in. What would you choose and why?
I probably would choose a more lofted club, but still go with the bump and run.
Okay.
Give myself more opportunity as opposed to a flop shot, which could.
Right. Absolutely. And I like that. So how would you set that shot up?
The same as Steve did. I would still set the ball back in my stance. I would still have the leg forward, but I would go with perhaps a pitching wedge or maybe even a sand wedge, depending how close it is.
Absolutely. Yep. And again, that goes right back to the point we talked about with loft, is you can use the same exact setup and then just switch the club and you'll have a completely different result. You know what I mean? So even if you're close, you can set up with the ball off your right foot, hands pressed a little forward, and then take a lob wedge and hit it, and it'll have the same kind of effect. It'll kind of give you that 50-50, pop up and then roll, but it'll get a lot more loft so it doesn't roll out anywhere near as much as it did before. Good. One last thing I want to leave with you is when you're practicing in the short game area, it's great to come out and pound balls out of the bunker or hit flop shots for hours on end. However, it doesn't translate to the golf course. I would always encourage you to play games with yourself. Whether you want to make it a points game or whether you want to play against a par of 2, give yourself a funky lie. Take one ball, put it in a funky spot, have a couple wedges with you and a putter, and then hit the shot, and then go try and make the up and down. Okay, maybe I'll hit one flop here, then I'll put one in the bunker, then I'll go over the fairway, then I'll kind of go behind a tree or something with a side hill slanted lie so we could practice those uneven lies like we talked about, and make it a game. Play 9 holes. It'll only take you a few minutes. It's a great activity and it translates to the course, because when you go out and you're playing your next round, you'll say, oh, I'm 20 yards off the green, I need to hit a lob wedge in a bump and run style. I've done that and I got it up and down. You can then draw on that confidence, the experience, and the thought process that you practiced in the practice area, and then translate that directly to improvement on the course.
Great. Thank you.
That was good.
Yes, sir.
All right, gents, we'll see you back next time when we do our bunker play.
Oh,
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jack.
My pleasure.
Thanks again, Evan.
My pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
Anytime.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jack.
Appreciate it.
My pleasure.